The VA was just awarded billions, hundreds of billions of American taxpayer dollars. So let's take a look at where it's all going. There's also a small note here about overtime for claims processing that caught my attention among many other things about this budget. Let's just go ahead and dive in, and let's start with the VBA side of the house. So here's the budget. All right, I'm going to word search Veterans Benefit Administration here once it starts working. Veterans Benefits Administration. I know you're in here somewhere. There it is, VBA. And I'm going to have this linked in the pinned comment below. There is a ton, an absolute megaton of information in this budget here. And I'm going to give you some key highlights. All right. So if you're a numbers person, you can look at this. Looks at mandatory benefits. You got compensation and pension, insurance readjustment, all that stuff. I want to scroll down because it tells you the direction the VBA is going. And this is extremely important for any and all veterans, especially those that are, fighting tooth and nail for VA benefits. So VBA's 2024 budget is focused on two strategic overarching themes, two of them. Benefits delivery, right? So getting service members or veterans their disability benefits, and service connection for environmental exposure. Now, benefits delivery covers a few more things other than disability compensation, but that's the main mamma jamma. And they give you the dollar amounts for compensation for all the veterans. Okay. So yada, 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 talks about how they went about making the suggestion for the budget, and then it talks about the increase from last year. Okay, cool beans. A good note on here is claims processing overtime increase $6.8 million. So the VA is putting $6.8 million in their back pocket to essentially process claims faster. Now, the part that caught my eye here is that periods of claims influx. So essentially, whenever a ton of claims come in at once, the VA has 6.8 to authorize overtime for those claims processors. At least that's how I'm interpreting this. Okay. If anyone else has some insider knowledge, I'd love to really understand how overtime works, but that's what it sounds like to me. All right. Payments to veterans and beneficiaries. If you ever want to know how much money American taxpayer dollars is being spent for veteran compensation, here it is. So this, all right, you got to understand this key. This key says dollars in the thousands, which is weird that they put it like this, but whatever. So that makes this number $173.8 billion. Okay. $173.8 billion American taxpayer dollars go to veteran compensation. That's a buttload of money, dude. Okay. Now, this is the advance request of 2025. You could just use the 2024 number of 161.4 billion, which is still a buttload. That's a lot of money, man. But they're the numbers. If you ever want to, ask how much does veteran compensation cost, there it is. And about only a third of all veterans that are alive today are rated. So imagine that, right? You could almost say, I wouldn't say that's a third, assuming every single veteran could be rated. Let's just say half, right? So that's only half of what the number could be. Pretty insane when you put it in context like that. I also want to show you the Veteran Board of Appeals. There's a Board of Appeals. I just skipped it. I'm an idiot. Here's the Board of Veterans Appeals. So 287. Now this is in the millions, right? Dollars in millions. So $287 million dollars, which is pretty much on par from where the board was. And side note, completely unrelated to this, there are pieces of legislation on the floor to essentially help the Board of Appeals process, specifically for legacy claims. Yeah, man, the board sucks. Okay, if you're going to the board, it takes forever. A lot of people do overturn decisions. They are service connected from the board, but there you go. You could read that as to how the board plans to spend $287 million. The last thing I want to show you is VHA, Veteran Health Administration. That's for prosthetic research. Here is electronic health records. You know what? We're already here. Might as well talk about it. This is solid. Okay. The VA wants to modernize their record keeping for veteran health records. I am a billion% for this. The VA is requesting $1.9 billion to get this done. Okay. And you can read about what the request includes, EHRs, electronic health records, and really go deep into what the heck does that even mean in the first place. Now let's go up to healthcare. And healthcare is right up here. Veterans Health Administration Medical Care. Tons of numbers, okay? The VHA, Veterans Health Administration, is absolutely massive. And according to that report, there's a 91% approval rating from veterans that use VA healthcare, right? Now, we talked about whether that's true or not. That's neither here or there, but I'll have that video below in the pinned comment so you can take a look at that as well, because they did report a 91% approval rating from veterans to veteran healthcare access. All right, so medical care focus areas. This is also important because it allows veterans to see what is the VHA focused on. This isn't in any order, right? But at the very, very top is mental health. Guess what? In case you didn't know, turns out a 20-year plus war against, an unnamed enemy, the global war on terror, is going to result in some mental health deficiencies. Imagine that, right? So dollars are in millions, so that's a big number, whatever that number is, all right? And it kind of breaks down this list here more so if you just keep reading. So mental health and preventing veteran suicide, that is very near and dear to my heart. I don't want to get into it too much, but a decent amount of my peers fall into this category, which really sucks. But the VA is working at improving mental health care and preventing veteran suicide. I'm all for that, okay? I am all for that. So suicide is a complex issue with no single cause. Yep, that sucks. All right. VHA also mentions women's health, right? A lot of money is going to women's health care, which is a good thing. For women's health and child care programs, this is solid. All right, this is solid. I think female veterans they always get pushed to the wayside because they're definitely not the majority. They are the extreme minority, but they make up, 20% of veterans. I'm not saying they make up 20%, but 20% of all veterans, that's 18 point something million. That's a buttload of females, okay? So VHA is really, really focusing on women's health care for 2024, 2025. We have homeless programs. The VA has made strides in the homeless programs, which is such a sticky topic, man. It really is. Support veterans' whole health. And that's pretty much the VA budget, okay? Now, there's tons of information here. Tons of information. I'm going to link this below in the comments. Let me know your thoughts, especially on the VBA side of the house, talking about overtime for claims processing. That seems promising, but at the same time, we have the mass exodus of VA employees leaving the VA last year. I assume they were overworked and underpaid, so who knows, right? I'm just a dude in the basement.